Welcome to BioBiz Buzz, the podcast where we look at the latest innovations across biotech, pharma, and medical devices. I'm your host, Shani Alexander. I'm a journalist with BioWorld, which is a leading publication that provides news, data, and analysis on the latest developments in the world of drugs and technologies. In this episode, I'm going to be talking about artificial intelligence in the diagnosis of cancer, because we're seeing more and more digital health tools being used to diagnose human diseases and conditions, most specifically skin cancer, which is seeing an increasing rate in incidence and mortality. Today, I'm joined by Christoffer Ekström, one of the founders and CEO of AI Medical Technology, a Swedish-based company that is developing AI-powered diagnostic solutions in dermatology so that it will be easier, faster, and more reliable for healthcare professionals to diagnose their patients. Christoffer, welcome to BioBiz Buzz.
Thanks, Shani. I am super excited and glad to be here.
Christoffer, you're one of the founders of AI Medical Technology. Can we start by you telling us why you decided to form the company?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I do have a personal story that I haven't told in a while that I would like to share with you. So we started the company about 5 years ago. However, 3 years prior, my girlfriend and I, the girlfriend I had at the time, we all of a sudden discovered a rapidly evolving and growing skin lesion, or a mole, more specifically, on her back. And at that point in time, it's important to know that none of us knew anything about skin cancer or skin lesions, AI, or medical devices. So obviously we do what everybody else would do. We seek medical care and we go to one of the best dermatologists in Sweden, in Stockholm. And the dermatologist looks at the skin lesion and says, "This is definitely benign. You can go home. You are safe." However, we were a little bit concerned still. I mean, we knew that this came out of nowhere and it had rapidly growing. So we asked for some more information or something to be done. And a little bit reluctantly, the dermatologist finally agrees on a skin lesion excision. And he was super nice, of course, as well, because he said, "Do you want to be here in the surgery room and watch?" I said, "Yeah, of course I want to be here." So I saw the whole procedure. The skin lesion was removed with an excision. Everything was taken away. But when we were done, once again, he confirmed and said, "This is super benign. Go home, feel safe." However, a couple of weeks later, we get the call. The results from the histopathological lab, the gold standard diagnosis, turned out to be a melanoma.
Oh, no.
And yeah, and we were shocked. We were. And oh, by the way, the girlfriend I had at the time, she's fine today. She's super happy. She's alive.
That's good.
And the very same thing happened to us 6 months later. We discovered once again a new rapidly growing skin lesion on our foot. Same procedures last time. We see a new dermatologist. The dermatologist says it was benign. We asked for a skin lesion excision and told the dermatologist about the previous event. And that excision as well, even though a dermatologist said this is benign, it turned out from the histopathological lab that it was, in fact, melanoma. And that got me thinking, shouldn't AI, this was 8 years ago, before the AI hype came along, and that got me thinking that shouldn't AI sometime in the future, or very soon at least, come along and help physicians, medical professionals, GPs, and dermatologists, help them in the diagnostic process? And I waited and nothing happened. So I got the idea from this personal experience of mine. And when I was finally tired of waiting, I was in 4th year of uni. And you have to be a little bit naive. I had as mentioned, no prior experience with AI or medtech or skin cancer. So I asked a couple of my fellow student colleagues if they wanted to join a company with me and try to pursue this endeavor of developing a medical device with AI and image analysis for skin cancer. So that is how it started. And on top of that, I can add that we got a great head start of the company because very early on, we were able to gather this amazing and super driven team of passionate, tech entrepreneurs, software developers, and clinicians. And we all came together to develop this AI-powered diagnostic solution to help with the diagnosis for our customers, medical professionals, diagnosing melanoma and so on, so forth, being able to save more lives and obviously save healthcare system vast amount of money.
Oh, wow, that's an amazing story and how you got started. Glad that your previous girlfriend is cancer-free and fine. Now, I see your first product is the Dermalyser, which is an AI-based image analysis tool for the detection of melanoma. Can you tell us about it and how it works?
Absolutely, definitely. So Dermalyser is a diagnostic decision support system to help healthcare professionals classify skin cancer, such as malignant melanoma. And as mentioned, we use image analysis combined with our AI algorithm. And it is super important to know that our AI algorithm, it is developed and is trained on thousands and thousands of quality controlled dermatoscopic images of skin lesions, together with the associated patient data. That is the final and histopathological diagnosis. And the way Dermalyser works, it's super simple. Dermalyser is a mobile application. It works both on Android and iOS. You download it on your mobile device. And then, as a medical professional, you attach something called a dermatoscope. And for those of you who doesn't know what a dermatoscope is, it's simplified. It is a magnifying glass with lights inside of it. So you attach that dermatoscope onto the mobile phone camera.
Mm-hmm.
And then super simple, you just take a picture of the suspected skin lesion or the mole that is. You press analyze, and the image is being then processed by our AI, and a diagnostic result is being delivered in real time. It takes a couple of seconds. And the result that you as a medical professional will get back is either a prompt saying evidence of melanoma is found, or no evidence of melanoma is found. And it is super important to know that Dermalyser is intended to be used as a decision support system for assessing skin or cutaneous lesions that is suspected of being melanomas. And also equally important is to know that the output from the device is not intended to be used as a sole source of information for diagnosis. The device should be used in combination with a medical professional assessment of the suspected skin lesion. And this is super important for many, many reasons, of course.
Yeah, I can imagine, because we all have a mobile phone. We can just download the app, I guess, and diagnose ourselves. I can see how it's important for healthcare professionals as well as a second pair of eyes or an assistant. So given that I can't download this Dermalyser myself, I mean, what does it mean for a patient who has a suspected skin abnormality and they're not sure exactly what it is? How important is that?
Absolutely. So as mentioned, Dermalyser can be used for assessing skin lesions with one or more signs of melanomas, or when melanomas can't be ruled out. And the application can be used as a decision support tool, as mentioned, by medical professionals seeking more information prior to any decision on further triage or treatment of the lesion. And getting back to your question then, so for the patients, it enables an easy analysis of their skin lesion and early on to be able to bring them peace of mind, or to get further treatment if necessary in time. We will be able to discover more melanomas earlier if Dermalyser is being used frequently in primary care, hence being able to possibly save more lives. But on the other end of the spectrum, bringing ease of mind to the patients, a little bit about that I think is super important to know. That is that if we say that the skin lesion is not melanoma, we have a negative predictive value, an NPV of 99.9%, which basically translates to, if we say it's not melanoma,
It's not.
it is correct 99.9% of the time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So it's super accurate and definitely will be able to bring peace of mind to the patient, but also to the medical professional as well.
But what about confirming it then? So you can rule it out at to 99.9%. What about saying, yes, it is?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So if we say that it is melanoma, or as a matter of fact, we say, as mentioned earlier, we say evidence of melanoma found. We are correct 1 times out of 5. And that sounds as if we are wrong many, many times. However, we need to compare that with the standard practice and methods of today or competing technical medical solutions. So we can translate this value into something called NNE. That is numbers needed to excise. How many times one need to do an excision to find one melanoma? The other ones were not melanoma. So there are many, many studies on this topic, and there's a huge range. But the most fair values that we have found in other scientific articles is that GPs, at least European and US GPs, on average, they require 22 excisions or numbers needed to excise to find one melanoma. The rest were not melanoma. Expert dermatologists, there are about 9. And as mentioned, Dermalyser is 5. As mentioned, 1 out of 5 times we will be correct. The other 4 we will be wrong. So we are still way better than the standard methods of today.
That's great to hear, especially for patients. I see more good news because you got CE mark a few months ago. How important was that? And where are you now with deploying the software across the EU market?
Great question. So CE marking is obviously super important because we as a medical manufacturer, we are not allowed, obviously, to sell or commercialize our product, Dermalyser, on the European or EU market in specific if we don't have a CE mark. And the CE mark under MDR, medical device regulations, is really, really, really difficult and complex to achieve in so many ways. I don't even have time. We would have to spend 2 hours for me just describing how complicated this is.
Yeah, you're not the only one that has said that. Yeah.
Yeah. But to us, it's so much more than a regulatory tick box exercise. It's to us, it's a declaration that our device meets the strict health, safety, and performance standards, which is required by the European regulations, but also an achievement that we now that we know what we're doing. We can do this.
Okay. I see that you've also done some clinical trials as well to highlight the effectiveness of your device. That played a role in you obtaining your CE mark. Can you tell us a little bit about the study that you conducted?
Definitely. So in order for us to acquire CE mark under MDR, we do need to provide real-world perspective clinical evidence. And I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I did. That our study that we conducted, I'm super proud of this fact that we were actually the first ones in the world conducting a clinical trial testing AI and image analysis for skin cancer diagnosis in a healthcare setting with general practitioners. And this was later on published in the British Journal of Dermatology, which is also a great and astonishing achievement from our end. So I'm super proud of the fact that the trial was the first one in the world being done in a primary care setting, but also that we later on got published in BJD. And a little bit more details into this study, because I believe the listeners want to know this. This study included 253 lesions and across 228 patients. 21 of those lesions were found to be melanoma. 11 of them were invasive. 10 were melanoma in situ. And melanoma in situ is but it is melanoma in the upper layer of the skin, not as dangerous as the invasive melanomas, which are the, as mentioned, dangerous types. And the thing I'm absolutely most proud of is the outcome of this study, that Dermalyser achieved astonishing sensitivity and specificity values of 100% sensitivity, which means that we caught every invasive melanoma, and a 92.6% specificity. To better understand how good this is, there is one other metric one can use. It's called AUC. It stands for area under the curve. And it goes from 0 to 1, 1 being perfect every time. And by the way, AUC can be used for any diagnostic method or medtech device meant for diagnosis. So it's not anything specific to our domain, skin cancer. It's a general tool used to measure how good you are at diagnosing something.
Okay.
So it goes from 0 to 1, as I mentioned, 1 being perfect, 0 being the worst, and 0.5 is basically a coin toss, coin flip. And so we need to compare how well does Dermalyser perform in relation to expert dermatologists and GPs. And we'll start with GPs. So GPs, they have, and this is super average. We had to look into many different clinical trials to come up with this number. And we are being generous on our side now. But GPs, they're around 0.7, distinguishing melanomas from non-melanomas. Dermatologists, they have an AUC of 0.85, while Dermalyser achieves 0.96, and that is including both the invasive and the in-situ melanomas.
Oh, that's quite impressive.
It definitely is. It definitely is.
So you've got CMAC, you've got this trial showing this amazing results. You're also targeting the US market. Where are you in the process?
So we are speaking with FDA. We have done a couple of pre-subs. We are pursuing the 510K pathway. We are finalizing the last stages of our plan for the clinical trial. We have now 10 clinics on board in Wisconsin and in Minnesota, and we're doing the trial together with Mayo Clinics, which is very prestigious for us to collaborate with.
And how prepared are you for the different population groups in the US? I mean, in Sweden, whiteness, skin tone is the norm, but recently in the UK, concern was raised by NICE, the National Institute of Clinical Excellence, about the accuracy of software technology in detecting non-cancer and skin cancer lesions in people with black or brown skin. How prepared are you for this in the US?
Yeah, so this is a super valid and a super important question that has many answers. First and foremost, our product is trained on several different kinds of skin tones. And within our domain, within dermatology, we define skin tones on a scale called the Fitzpatrick scale, going from 1 to 6, 1 being the lightest skin type and 6 being the darkest, and then everything between. And yes, the trial was done in a Swedish population. However, even though we wanted to include as many skin types as possible, the people with skin type 1 through 6 showed up. And if you are a person with a skin tone of Fitzpatrick 5 and 6, you're lucky in the way that you are most likely you will never ever get skin cancer. If you're a Fitzpatrick 1 to 4, you're 25 times more likely to get skin cancer than if you're a 5 to 6. That is important to know as well. But we do want to, I mean, I don't wish for anyone to have skin cancer, of course not. But I mean, hopefully doing the trial in US, we will reach that target population as well, Fitzpatrick 5 and 6.
That's good to hear. So where would you say the company is now, and what are your long-term or near-term and long-term milestones?
So let's start with the long-term milestone. I believe this is much more fun. Global domination, that's what we're going for. I know I sound very confident, but that's the only way. And we were born global since the start. It's always been a target. Here and now, I mean, I like to think about our company journey in 3 major steps or stages. The first one being the regulatory phase, which we have now achieved with great outcome. We are CE marked. And the second part being the clinical trials. I mean, these in your lab, of course, but it's simplification. I kind of think of them as 2 steps, but they're in your lab. And then we have achieved our clinical results and our clinical trials. And this has been a journey for us. We have learned a lot. And now we are entering our third and final stage before we iterate back on everything again. You know, it's going to be iterate, and we're going to become better and better and more of everything. But this third and final stage is still unexplored territory for us, and that is our commercial stage. So in short, sure. You had a question?
I was just going to ask, where are you with it? Because you have CE mark now. So you're in the Swedish market. Are you deployed in healthcare clinics there? And then are you targeting where in Europe, UK, Germany, France?
Absolutely. So the entire European continent is our market. And we will pursue each and every country where we believe Dermalyser can bring great value. To name some countries, obviously Sweden, Norway, Denmark, Finland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, France, Spain, and so on and so on. And obviously the Eastern countries as well, they're equally important. So everywhere where we can bring value to the healthcare system, also value to patients. And let me get back to what I meant by we will iterate back. Once we have achieved our regulatory stage, we will iterate back, because Dermalyser is not necessarily a complete and finished product, right? It's a great product. It is a great start, but part of our strategy is to enter the market fast as possible with a compliant product backed up by clinical evidence. But then once at the market, we want to further develop this product together with our customers, that is GPs and dermatologists. We want to know what they think. What would they like for us to do for them, for us to achieve the product market fit, that is. So that is why I say iterate. It's not like iterating, it's everything is going in parallel, but for the sake of trying to simplify the explanation of what we're doing here. So we'll do more science, more regulatory work, of course, that will never end. And we will do a lot more clinical trials and continue to evolve Dermalyser over time. And that is one part of the strategy, how we will long-term, getting back to where I started, achieve global dominance.
Like that. And can your technology be adapted to other skin disease or other types of cancer? I mean, what have you got in the pipeline?
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah. So that is what that relates back to my previous answer, right? So that is what we're doing. We actually, as a matter of fact, working in parallel, as mentioned, we have already developed new AIs to include the two other skin cancer types. And those are basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. As mentioned, those are skin cancer as well as melanoma. However, they are not as dangerous. You're much, much, much less likely to die from basal cell squamous cell carcinoma than from melanoma. And obviously, we will include the other types of skin lesion diseases as well. They are not cancerous, but they are important to be able to diagnose and able to distinguish them from the cancerous ones. And we have already started the trial. And it's a trial. It's I believe it's a randomized controlled trial. It's a international trial, and we have included many countries in EU.
Okay. And it's on the way?
Absolutely, it's on the way. And so very soon, Dermalyser will be once again CE marked and upgraded, and with a lot of other great features we're developing together with our customers. We're already now working with a lot of key opinion leaders around Europe, bringing in their thoughts, their perspectives, how they would like for us to do it for them.
Okay, sounds fascinating. And it has been a fascinating conversation. Are you able to tell me, or maybe for clinicians who are interested in the Dermalyser, and for patients, do you have any last words for them?
Oh, I have so much to say. I don't, but yeah. So something we didn't speak about is the value we can bring to healthcare specifically. I mean, we understand that it has great diagnostic accuracy, and for patients, it's great. But for the healthcare system, the value we bring is the ability, together with our medical doctors and GPs, be able to reduce the burden on the healthcare system by reducing the number of unnecessary referrals from primary care to secondary care, or reduce the number of unnecessary excisions. And that will save time and it will save money. But I will also would like to say as a finish is that what we have developed, it is not just a technological breakthrough. This is a shift in how we approach skin cancer diagnostics. And as mentioned, for our patients, it means faster diagnosis, and as I said, fewer unnecessary surgeries, and potentially life-saving decisions made sooner.
Well, Christoffer, that is fascinating and very, very important for patients, especially as skin cancer rates are rising. And it's clear that AI-based software such as yours are transforming the way diseases are diagnosed using algorithms to analyze images and detect certain characteristics is certainly impacting how care is delivered. That concludes our time for today, Christoffer. Thank you very much for sharing what AI medical technology is doing. I also want to thank all listeners for joining us as we looked at how AI is transforming healthcare, not only in early diagnosis, but also as a second pair of eyes for healthcare professionals, enabling them to make informed decisions. If you have any questions or topic you'd like to discuss in the future episodes of BioBiz Buzz, send us your responses to interviews@biobizbuzz.com. And to stay updated on the upcoming editions of BioBiz Buzz, follow us on LinkedIn, where we will post alerts about new episodes. Thank you very much, Christoffer.
Thank you so much, Shani.